episode of Rick's Horror Movie Review Show, Rick's Rated R Horror Movie Review Show, where we review absolutely everything and anything that has to do with horror, such as horror movies. Throw in there horror TV shows, horror video games, and hell, YouTube shorts as well that deal with horror. We review that shit here too. You know why? Because we absolutely love it. But around here, around these parts, there's a very special type of horror that we really enjoy. Horror stories or movies that deal with the Catholic Church. You can't have the Catholic Church without demonic possession. But that's not all we like. We like stories, horror stories about zombies. Billy doesn't like the fast zombies. I don't think I do either. But what about just ghosts, regular old ghosts that haunt your house? Because fuck it. That's just what they do. Ghosts gotta do what ghosts gotta do. Anyway, we love that shit around here. And thank you for joining us. If you are a new listener, welcome to Rick's Rated R Horror Movie Review Show. And if you're a returning listener, welcome back. And before we get into the show and before my producers start barking in my ears, let me just tell you about our socials. We are on the socials. You can find us on Instagram, on the TikToks, well, like the kids like to call it. You can find us on the YouTube and the Facebooks at Rick's Horror on all of those socials. Okay, Billy, how are you tonight? Welcome to the show, Bill. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm doing terrific. Thank you for asking. How are you doing? I am doing tremendous. I am excited because tonight we have a very special episode. Oh, Lord. That's right. Tonight we are talking about the Frighteners with, you guessed it, Marty. We gotta come back. You gotta come back with me. Back where, Doc? Where do we have to go, Doc? Back to the future, Marty. Something's gotta be done about your kids. They're fuck-ups. Oh, Lord. Here we go. Oh, my goodness. That's right. Michael J. Fox in The Frighteners. But he's not the only one, man. This movie... Well, let me just tell you. This movie is special. This episode is special. And I am excited to get right into this. If you are new, we have a very simple show format. And Billy, you liked this before, so we'll play with it. If you are new to the show, we have a simple format. If you're a returning listener, I've added a couple of things because fuck it. So we got in this segment tonight called Why This Movie? And then we have a brand new segment that's going to be led by Billy called 4 Fun Film Facts with Billy the AI. Oh, I wasn't aware. Well, now you are. Oh, okay. I mean, that would have been nice to prepare something, but I guess I can come up with something. 1 second. Okay, got it. I knew you'd be prepared. As usual, we'll talk about what kind of horror film this is, and then we'll get into whether or not this film is scary. Is it scary, mister? Is this film scary? Thus, this movie contains jump scares, a relatively new segment, but I think it should stick. I like it. If you don't like it, let us know on the old socials at Rick's Horror. As usual, the things I liked, not things in general, but the things I liked about this film. Followed by, obviously, the things I didn't like. Because, hey, why not? It's our show. Then we'll talk about whether or not this film is entertaining. And, do I recommend it? Do I recommend this film? Is it a funny film or not a funny film? We'll give this movie a rating. And all of these segments I just mentioned will be spoiler-free, by the way. I forgot to mention that, Billy. That's right. All of this stuff will be spoiler-free right until the point where we get to the first rating, because you will do 2 ratings. That is correct. We will do 2 ratings, but the first rating, everything up until the first rating will be spoiler-free. After that, we'll get right into the context. And then we'll get into a new segment called The Illogical. Sometimes we're asked to buy into logic, that's movie logic, but sometimes it's just too illogical. And I figured we'd put it in here and really start to dissect the film, huh, Billy? I think we're really finally becoming film experts. Maybe, yeah, maybe. Then we'll do a little plot review, commentary, and script-accurate dramatizations of scenes in the film. Oh my goodness, I just want to tell the new audience members that they are not script accurate. Please do not expect script accurate. Oh, Billy, they are definitely script accurate improvisation of films. Scenes. Oh my goodness. This film does not require us to do an interpretation of an ending, but if it did, we would do that. And then we'll give a final rating once again. All right? How does that sound, Bill? I mean, I'm excited about my new segment, a full fun film max with Billy. I kind of like that. I thought you would. That's why I threw it in there. And without further ado, let's just jump right into this one. Oh my goodness, you need to do your breathing exercises tonight. You haven't had need to do them very often anymore. You're right, but I should. Ow now, brown cow. Unique New York. Ah, good. That's good. Okay, yeah, that's good. Okay, so it's showtime. Hey, it's showtime. Wait, was that boxing announcer guy? It's showtime. Oh yeah, that sounds like it. Okay, so why the Frighteners, Billy? I mean, why not? That's right. That's right. I mean, I could just say that. Why not? No. Okay, so here's why. It's got Michael J. Fox. If you're a listener of this show, you know I love Back to the Future, Marty. And we had the doc recently in a horror film. Our episode on I Am Not a Serial Killer. If you have not seen or heard our review of I Am Not a Serial Killer, I'd highly recommend you go listen to that. Go listen to that and tell me what you thought about that episode. And what you thought about that movie. I'd love to hear it. So I said, you know what? I said like Marty, like the doc says in back, what the hell? Doc, what about all that stuff about not knowing too much about the future? I said, well, Marty, what the hell? So I said, what the hell? Why not have a horror film with Michael J. Fox in it? So here we are. Okay, so another Back to the Future, Marty, connection is the fact that this film was actually executive produced by Robert Zemeckis, the director of Back to the Future, of course. And this film was directed by none other than Peter Jackson, the director responsible behind the hugely successful and well-regarded Lord of the Rings films. If you haven't seen those, go check those out. Should we do a Lord of the Films review, Bill? I mean, they're not necessarily horror, but maybe you can do them in Rick's other movie review, which you really haven't done anyway. Yeah, you're right. I haven't done an episode of Rick's other movie review. Welcome to Rick's Other Movie Review Show, where we review all things not related to horror. Yeah, you told me that already. Okay, sorry, Billy. Anyway, so again, produced by Robert Zemeckis, directed by Peter Jackson, and scored by Danny Elfman, who has worked a lot with... oh my goodness, I'm blanking out on the director's name. He did Edward Scissorhands. He did... Batman, Tim Burton. Oh my goodness, Tim Burton. And obviously also Danny Elfman, the genius behind the Simpsons theme song as well. So there you go. Okay, that's why the Frighteners. And now our segment. 4 film facts. 4 fun film facts with Billy the AI. And by the way, do you know why it's 4 fun film facts with Billy the AI? I mean, no, why 4? Because when I was writing this, I couldn't come up with another F. I really wanted it to be 5 fun film facts with blank. Or 5 fucking... Oh, I could have just said that. 5 fucking fun film facts. Oh my goodness. Next time. With Billy the AI. It is Rick's... By the way, this is Rick's rated R horror movie review show. Okay? Oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, you could have done that, but that's okay. I mean, I think 4 fun film facts sounds really good too. Okay. I'll let you have at it, Billy, please. Okay, so 4 fun film facts with Billy the AI about the Frighteners. This movie was originally planned to be an episode of Tales from the Crypt. But the script was so good that Robert Zemeckis, the gentleman you mentioned earlier, decided that it would be a good movie. So that's what they did. They turned it into a movie. The next fun fact is that this film was actually made by the Weta special effects team, and as you said earlier, The Lord of the Rings, directed by Peter Jackson, they also did the special effects for The Lord of the Rings. So this is sort of their proving grounds where they earned their stripes on this film. So fans of the Frighteners really have to think. Fans of The Lord of the Rings really have to think. The Frighteners and Weta special effects were honing their skills in this film. And the last of our 4 fun film facts is that one of the characters named the Judge was played by a gentleman named Sean Austin, who was Gomez Adams from the Adams family. Okay, thank you very much for full film facts or fun film facts with Billy the AI. Next time it'll be 5 fucking fun film facts with Billy the AI. All right. Thanks for those fun facts. All right, so we go on to what kind of horror film this is. Well, it's simple. This is a horror comedy. And, yeah, and that's all there is to say about it. Hey, old Stone Cold Steve, that's all I got to say about that. That's our first Stone Cold Steve Austin reference. I'm surprised 43 episodes in. Welcome to our 43rd episode. If you haven't heard the 42nd, if you haven't heard the first 42, you should go check those out. I'm surprised that's the first Stone Cold Steve Austin reference I've done. Yeah, me too. And I mean, if you want, if the people listening out there want more Stone Cold Steve Austin references, then give us a hell yeah. Wow, a second Stone Cold Steve Austin reference. I like it. What? Okay, Billy, that's enough. What? Okay, that's enough. All right, sorry. 3 Stone Cold Steve Austin references in 1 episode after having 0 in 42 episodes. Oh my goodness. Stone Cold, if you're listening out, oh my goodness, could you imagine? We got a call from Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's like, all right, it's Stone Cold. I just want to tell you, you're doing a hell of a job. If you like Rick's show, give me a hell yeah. Can you imagine? Oh my goodness, I would die. Anyway, Stone Cold will never do that. Is this film scary? And if you don't know who Stone Cold Steve Austin, then too bad. No, this film is not scary. I give it 2 out of 10 scaries. I just don't think it was scary. Some of the stuff in the beginning was okay, sort of scary, but not scary enough. So for me, it's 2 out of 10 scaries. Billy? I also agree. The film had some intense moments, but yeah, maybe I'll agree with. I'd even reckon say maybe it's 1 out of 10 scaries for me. I didn't think it was scary. Okay. Very few. Oh, my producers are telling me something in my ears, and they are telling me to once again mention the old socials if I haven't said that already, but I have. So. All right. Yes, go on, please. What are you saying? Uh-huh. Okay. Too many Stone Cold references? Oh, okay. Sorry, I apologize. Producers are telling me that's too many Stone Cold references, and to please curtail the Stone Cold references for the next episode. I mean, yeah, for future episode. Okay. We're real sorry about that, producer. Oh, okay, he's shaking in approval. All right, producer, letting us know. Thank you for being us in check. Where were we? Does this film contain jump scares? Very few. It does, but they're very few, and they're not distracting. They're not overused, or it's not overdone. So yes, it does. Next, is this film entertaining? I thought so. I thought this film was extremely entertaining. I can't believe I haven't seen it. This film came out in 1996, and somehow I just missed it. I don't know how, but I just missed it. Okay, so do I recommend this film? Without question, I think yes, there is absolutely no reason for me not to recommend this film. I thought this film was exciting. I thought that this film was, for the most part, a little ahead of its time from 1996 in terms of special effects, wouldn't you say, Billy? Yeah, I mean, I agree. As you said, the Weta special effects team really worked hard on this, and I think it showed. Yeah, so I definitely recommend this one. I don't usually, well, not usually, but I'll say that I recommend you watch everything for yourself, and that's sort of a non-recommendation. But do I recommend this? Absolutely. Go watch this. My producers are also recommending this film to you. Yes, they're saying go watch this, and they are ecstatic about it. Okay, so the things I liked, sponsored as usual by no one. The story. I like the story. The story was great. I thought they struck the right balance between horror and comedy, unlike a movie we just recently reviewed, Krampus. If you haven't heard our review on Krampus, go listen to that. Another thing I really liked was the influences from classic horror stuff, like Psycho. They're everywhere. And, it's always really nice when, obviously people who make films, they have to be fans of this stuff like we are, right? We're doing this because we love it. And Jackson and the team there, I think, really showed it. The folks who wrote that and put it together really shows an interest and an appreciation for the stuff that came before. So kudos for that. I really like the influences of classic horror like Psycho. And actually also some really interesting slasher elements as well. And as everybody knows, if you know, you don't know this, I'm not a fan of the slasher. But I thought, the elements were done well here. And of course, I already mentioned the special effects. I really like that. And what else do I have to say? Michael J. Fox. I love it. I love Marty McFly. I love the Doc. I love Back to the Future. It was really nice to see him in this film, in a horror film. Like, it was nice to see the Doc. So, okay, that's it for the things I liked. The things I didn't like, sponsored as also usual. As also usual, Billy? No, as sponsored as usual would be best. Sponsored as usual by no one. Okay, right. I know this is 96, right? I mean, we're going to be a little forgiving, but not too forgiving, because 96 was 30 years ago, somewhat 30 years ago, 28 years ago. 28 years ago? 27 years ago. And it just feels like they shoehorned a romance in here because that's just what Hollywood wanted in those days. Did audience really want shoehorned romances in? I can't speak for audiences in 1997 or audiences in 2023 because I am an AI. Oh. I thought you were going to say something there. I can't. I just said I can't. I don't know why. I just felt like for some reason they shoehorned a romance into this where it wasn't really necessary, and it just felt weird, especially under the circumstances that the romance happened. So, again, remember, this is all spoiler-free territory for now. Okay, so the inconsistencies in telling stories that will be covered in the illogical. Okay, so I can be forgiving up to a point because I know that modern filmmaking or the writing of modern filmmaking is different than it was, some 27 years ago in terms of like what you could get away with because of the existence of the internet and because of how we view movies in today's society than probably people didn't look at back then. But I just can't help it. And so we created a new segment called The Illogical to cover all of the inconsistencies in storytelling that I found interesting. Okay, again, not to excuse it, but there's some crude necrophiliac humor there that I didn't really care for. I didn't like it. Obviously, it's in the things I didn't like. Okay, so now, without further ado, is this film... By the way, you can have a film that is not scary, a film that is... doesn't have any jump scares, but it can be entertaining, right? So is this film entertaining? Yes, it is entertaining, okay? And I'm gonna give this film an 8 out of 10. Wow, that's really high. An 8 out of 10, and for something 27 years old, I thought it still held up relatively well. The special effects, again, pretty far ahead of their time. I know Jurassic Park is around the same time as well, but I think nothing in horror had been done this way. If I'm mistaken, let us know at the old socials. Hey Rick, I found a horror movie that's older that has better special effects than the film you mentioned. Okay, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. At Rick's Horror on the Instagrams and the TikToks and the Facebooks and the YouTubes. Let us know. Okay, so yes, it's entertaining, an 8 out of 10. And now a little bit of context, and we've done this before. We've mentioned this context, or rather this person, in other context movies, especially I Am Not a Serial Killer, which if you haven't seen that, go watch it. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? The same person referenced in a movie that stars Christopher Lloyd and Michael Jackson. Isn't that interesting? Connected by a reference of a serial killer. What do you think? Oh, man, I guess I don't think that's necessarily intentional, but yeah, that's an interesting thing that you pointed out. Maybe that could have been one of the fun facts. 5 fucking fun film facts with Rick. So the person I'm about to mention, and by the way, now we're entering spoiler-full territory. If you haven't seen this 27-year-old movie, then this might be the place to jump off. There ain't no room for cowards here. I'm kidding. You're not a coward if you. What are ya, yella? You don't want to continue listening? What are ya, McFly? Chicken? No. So all spoiler-full territory from now on. Okay. So John Wayne Gacy is mentioned in this film as well. Now, if you don't know who John Wayne Gacy is, he was an American serial killer known as the Killer Clown, also a sex offender who assaulted and murdered at least 33 young men and boys during the 70s. Gacy's crimes were particularly notorious due to the fact that, again, he was a practicing clown known as Pogo the Clown. Hey, kids! I'm Pogo the Clown! Who wants a balloon? Yeah! I want one! Another interesting reference, per context, was another mention of another serial killer. Oh my goodness, you give me one of these. That's funny. You gave yourself a draw. One of those, that's funny. So Andre Chikatilo was also mentioned, not by name, just alluded to as the killer who killed 50 back in Russia, they said. So a little background on him, since we haven't covered. Born on October 16, 1936 in the former Soviet Union in Ukraine. He grew up obviously in, well, I should say obviously, but in a poverty-stricken family during the famine. I was going to mention there was a famine around those times. During World War II, so it's tough times to be alive. Famine, political turmoil of the 30s as well in the Soviet Union. His life was marked by hardship and, as you can imagine, deprivation when he was a young child. That turned into criminal activity. He was known for criminal activity that spanned at the very least from 78 until 1990, where he committed his first documented murder in 78 and continued to kill for over a decade. Most of his victims were women, but also he targeted children, including both boys and girls. And his modus operandi was to lure his victims to secluded areas where he would assault and murder and mutilate them as well. His crimes were, characterized by extreme violence and often involved sexual assault. He was also known to remove organs from the victims, which led him to being dubbed the Butcher of Rostov. Thankfully, in 1990, he was arrested after a long and challenging investigation. And, his arrest was actually complicated due to the fact that forensic technology available then wasn't what it is now. And at the time, the initial misidentification of some of the suspects as well. So he was eventually caught, thankfully, due to a combination of surveillance and matching his blood type to semen samples found on some of his victims. Thank the universe. And that's it. There's also a mention of the Grim Reaper, but I think everybody knows who the Grim Reaper is, or at least heard the story of the Grim Reaper. Okay, now let's get right into the illogical. Okay, so some of this stuff, like who was chasing Patricia around the house at the beginning of the film? We're not going to answer the question. We're posing it. The ashes that were kept in the urn were not Bartlett's. Or rather, they're not her father's, as they said. They were Bartlett's. But why? If Bartlett was the one in the ashes, in the urn, if Bartlett's ashes were in the urn, then who was haunting the house at the beginning of the film? I don't understand. And we know that Frank and Lucy both suffered trauma, which eventually helps them see ghosts. But what was Patricia's trauma? What was it that helped her see? Obviously, she sees Bartlett and she sees, well, she doesn't see the other ghost. She sees Bartlett. So how is it she sees only Bartlett? Everybody else sees all the ghosts, but somehow Patricia sees Bartlett. Okay, so Frank Bannister crashing into a fence works very well for comedy. But then he wants to call it even by banishing poltergeists, to make up for the destruction of the fence. Or rather, he only goes away with $100 after all of this happens. And you'll get a more understanding later of all this that's happening, and I'm telling you right now. But some of this stuff just doesn't make sense, and I thought I'd point it out now. That just seems like bad storytelling to me. The missing box cutter was some type of proof of guilt. So I didn't understand that either. Like, how does a missing box cutter... It's, by the way, some of the victims that we're talking about were not box cut to death. So a missing box cutter, to me, proves nothing in a legal system. And I know it's a story. It's just a story. But I don't know how that implicates him by his box cutter being missing, okay? Anyway, the Grim Reaper's scythe is permanent ghost death. So the Grim Reaper makes an appearance, and when he uses it, he kills ghosts, quote unquote. But the bullets from the Master Sergeant are not permanent death, or permanent death for something that's already dead. I don't understand. So why did Ray, another ghost, see hauntings in Patricia's house? What was it that he saw? And again, who was committing those hauntings? Why was that house? We didn't see hauntings like that in the remainder of the film. So what the hell was haunting her house? And it was never explained. Okay, so it seems like some ghosts, like Magda, her associates, and a man who died in a restroom have no choice but to go straight into the light, while others somehow have a chance to linger. That wasn't explained. Why was that? Like, again, the man in the restroom, Magda, almost immediately after death, straight into the light. So how did Cyrus, Stewart, the judge, and Bartlett avoid going straight into the light when they died? I don't understand. That's weird, but that's just the logic that it's not consistent, right? So Bartlett's ashes, again, needed to be taken to a church to cross over, but Magda, her associate, and the man in the restroom did not. I don't understand. And presumably also, Frank Bannister's wife. Okay, so another inconsistency is the ability another illogical thing, the ability by ghosts to manipulate things. Okay, if you're establishing in a film that ghosts can manipulate things, which is a trope, of course. But so the ghosts can manipulate things, but things cannot manipulate the ghosts is an interesting thing, because, okay, now the Grim Reaper is hit by a moving truck. How? Nothing in the film was hit, you weren't capable of using anything against a ghost other than some ghost-on-ghost crimes. And somehow a moving truck hits one of the ghosts in one of the scenes, and it just doesn't make any sense to me, because if that's the case, you could have stopped the ghost with any other object, preventing another plot point, right? So Frank himself turns himself into a ghost because he could do nothing while he was alive to stop the Grim Reaper in its physical form, and yet the truck somehow stops the Grim Reaper. If that's the case, why turn into a ghost? Another illogical thing is some of Bartlett's victims lingered in the cemetery while, again, as I just mentioned, Magda, her associate, and the man in the restroom that died go straight to heaven. So why are some of these victims lingering in the cemetery, but some of them don't? So there's to me, it's just, I'm looking at this and I'm reading and I'm doing my notes here, and some of the stuff just doesn't make any sense. And it sort of follows, you don't really capture it, I think, until you start to really think critically about the logic in the film. And unfortunately, fortunately for us, it turned into an interesting thing to talk about. If you have any thoughts on the illogical, let us know at the old socials. I'd love to hear your perspective on these things. All right, let's jump right into this one. I mentioned many of the characters already. So now, the plot review. Okay. How we doing on time? I think we're okay, but we gotta speed it up. Okay. So we start with a rainy night shot of some kind of home with creepy music and thunder as we hear now. And then we, the audience, enter the home through a window. And the home is dark. And there's a woman there, her name is Patricia Bradley. And she screams and runs. Ah! Help me, Jesus! Ah! And she runs back and forth, up the stairs, down the stairs, up the stairs, down the stairs, up the stairs, down the stairs, back up the stairs, and back down the stairs, and kitchen, the other kitchen, and the restroom, and then a carpet grabs her. And then an older woman shows herself, Mrs. Bradley, turns out to be Patricia's mother, and grabs a shotgun and tells the ghost, "This house ain't big enough for the both of us, you son of a bitch! And the wicked shall be punished!" And she shoots this thing, and some entity escapes, and a Frightener card, the title card, shows up. And then we move on to another scene of a bunch of cars making a left turn, and shots of an early internet, and two people looking at shocking death somewhere. Something about the shadow of death. The shadow of death is recently found in the town of Fairwater. The people looking at the internet are newspaper folks, Magda and her associates, who we mentioned already. Magda tells her associate, "Johnny, you gotta go to Fairwater. I want to get to the bottom of this shocking killing. And I want you to be there. Okay, you're like my Peter Parker. Except you don't have spider powers. But if you did, that would be awesome. But also weird. Because then I'd have to report on you. But anyway, just go to Fairwater. And tell me about the shocking deaths." And there he goes. The associate goes to Fairwater to investigate. And then we move on to another scene where we meet Frank Bannister, who is at a cemetery walking towards a funeral. And while he's not there at the funeral to pay his respects, he starts hanging out cards. And it turns out he's a psychic investigator, and to nobody's surprise, he gets kicked out. "Hey, you! You get the hell out of here with your goddamn psychic investigator power. We don't need your kind around here. You hear me? We already know how to talk through the dead, through the Lord Jesus Christ Almighty. We don't need you, some third-party psychic investigator. Well, you get out of here. Before I go, I'll make a come over. I'll make it come." And he gets kicked out, and he leaves, and he starts driving in his old car. Old yellow car. Suddenly, he loses control and crashes into somebody's fence. And a man named Ray comes out concerned about his lawn and his fence, of course. "Hey, what the hell, bro? You just crashed into my lawn? What the hell, bro? It's gonna cost you. You killed my gnomes." And another woman, who turns out to be Ray's wife at the same time, Lucy, drives to the site of the opening shot, that mansion. And she's greeted by Mrs. Bradley, who doesn't want her to come in. Lucy is a doctor, and she's there to patch up Patricia after that scuffle with the demon earlier, right? Or whatever the hell that entity was. A carpet demon, Bill? Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. We didn't get a glimpse of anything. There was some kind of moving pattern on the walls. It looked like it was traveling through the walls, traveling through the floor, and eventually it took the form of the car, or rather, didn't take the form of the carpet. He sort of morphed into the carpet. He was the carpet, or it was the carpet. Yeah. Which, by the way, it doesn't make any sense considering who Patricia turns out to be later in the film. Like, who's haunting her and who's causing this pain and damage to her? It's weird. It's weird shit going on. Anyway, Lucy patches her up. You're gonna be alright. Alright, just a little. I'm gonna put a little band-aid on your boo-boo. Hey, who's a good Patricia? I'm gonna put a little band-aid on your boo-boo, little Patricia. Thank you, doctor, but I'm actually probably older than you. Oh, I'm sorry. I tend to deal with younger patients. It's a force of habit. Now, who wants a lollipop? No. I'm sorry again, just force of habit. I apologize. I'm really sorry. Do you want me to write you a note for school or something? Oh, I'm sorry. I just did it again. And Mrs. Bradley says, Patricia, never leave the house. Because, the doctor's worried about who's causing these bruises. And of course, Lucy thinks that Patricia's being harmed by her mother, right? I think that's a logical explanation. I would not put that in your illogical. I think that's very logical. I agree. So Lucy thinks Mrs. Bradley is beating Patricia up. And she's told that Lucy never leaves the house and she doesn't know who she is. And Lucy, whatever. She's like, whatever. He drives away. And then we want old news footage of 12 people being gunned down by Johnny Bartlett at the Fairweather Sanitarium. The killer says, I got one more than the last one. The Osmond got 11, I got 12. The daughter of the administrator at the sanatorium was Patricia from the old house, the younger woman, and she was in love with the killer. A crime of passion indeed. The killer was then electrocuted. Patricia Bradley was granted a release by the governor. That actually sounded like old news stuff. Good job. Thanks, man. So for some reason now, Ray and Patricia's house is haunted. Why? Is it illogical at this point? No, it's not illogical. We just don't know enough of the story. But now it's haunted somehow. And, somehow Frank Bannister is there. And he happens to be a psychic investigator. So some of this stuff is smelling a little fishy already this early on, right? Yeah, we have to... It's early on. We'll see what happens. Okay. All right, so the Roy and Patricia, and by the way, I mentioned the man whose fence was torn down is Ray, and he happens to be married to Lucy, who's the doctor. Lucy? Maybe they could have named him Ricky. I was thinking the same thing. I think it would have been too close if they'd named him. Maybe they were thinking about it, but who knows. Anyway, for some reason now, Ray and Patricia's house is haunted. Their bed is lifted off the ground. My bed! It's flying! Like them Exorcist movies! Oh, Ray. Oh, I think our house is haunted. Oh, somehow I have Frank Bannister's card in my pocket. We should call him. That guy? I thought I tore that sumbitch up. And shit is flying in the kitchen, and she's just had enough, and I would, guess she's following the rules of horror. Don't fuck with that shit. When creepy shit starts happening, call for help. Call Ghostbusters. Call Frank Bannister. Call somebody. So that's what she does. She doesn't fuck around and calls Frank Bannister. And he shows up presently and tells them, you guys have a poltergeist. And, of course, he arrived and destroys more of the fence and for more comedic effect. But then he tells them, and this is the stuff that is in the illogical part, that he'll charge them $459 to get rid of their poltergeist or call it even for the destruction of the fence earlier. So if he's in the business of getting rid of poltergeist, then why is he crushing a fence to begin with? That doesn't make any sense. It's bad business to me. Anyway, Ray begrudgingly agrees to pay his fee, and Bannister pulls out some kind of contraption and then a pistol with holy water, right? Yeah, that was really funny. I kind of scared Ray with his little pistol and put him on edge more than he already was. I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, that was a funny thing, but yeah, I understand. So Ray's like, man, this guy's total bullshit. Why don't you just make him make like a tree and get out of here? And then the machine that he had pulled out a little machine when he was spraying with his gun. He's shooting holy water everywhere. And the little machine pulls out what he calls ectoplastic emanations. Then it spits it out in this convenient tiny little coffee bag. And he throws down that shit down the garbage disposal. Oh my goodness, if that wasn't some shit. Yeah, that was, you know, maybe they were mocking like the... I think maybe what they were going here for, as you mentioned, there's a lot of influence from older films. Maybe what they were doing is, you know, the Ghostbusters and how much care they take to place ghost and ectoplastic matter in safe locations to prevent these ghosts from haunting again. Uh-huh. Well, maybe they're just making a mockery out of that, you know, satire and then just getting rid of it if it's just like anything, you know, down the garbage disposal or something like that. I don't know, man, maybe. You know what, Billy, maybe? And homage to Ghostbusters by doing the exact opposite of what they would do. I think we should do Ghostbusters, right? That's a horror film. Oh, we should definitely do Ghostbusters. Okay. So anyway, we move on. The ectoplastic emanations are washed down the garbage disposal, but then shit gets serious. Husband, Ray, has 37 on his forehead for some reason. And Bannister's telling him, hey, hold on a second there, Ray. You got the number 37 on your forehead? Oh, God, Jack. I mean, Ray. And he doesn't believe it, and of course, Bannister gets kicked out. And as we see him leave, we see some ghosts starting to haunt the house the same way that they were haunting that mansion there in the wall. And then we move on to another scene where Bannister arrives in his home. And by the way, his car was terrible. Like, that yellow car was horrible looking. His home is in even worse shape. And he gets out of this car and starts walking to his half-built home, and suddenly he has ghosts in his trunk. Yeah, when I saw that, I thought I know where this was going. So a couple of ghosts get out of his car, Stuart and Cyrus. And Cyrus is a taller dude, and Stuart is a shorter dude. Yeah, so they get out and they go inside the house, and Cyrus, the second ghost, exits the trunks, and he's angry that he had to ride the trunk. Now, come on, Frank! The African American Parisian Coalition will be informed about this, let me tell you. Hot damn! And he has a ghost out too. Yeah. And we move on to the next day where the ghost says that he has been giving him... Now, Dunford, we done been giving you 5 years of loyal service. You gotta treat us better than this. And then another ghost, the judge, shows up and starts shooting at everything. Pa, 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 pa. Hold on, recognize. Hold it there. I bet there be the judge. And the judge is an older, he's a gunslinger from, you know, these presumably 1800s at some point. And he's got himself a nice little grave set up, and he's old. He says, there's a haunting. He says, now hold on there, Winky. I don't reckon I gotta tell you that frightening is a young man's game. I want my whole ectoplasm the dumb bit right up. Now hold it now, Frank, hold now. That death is no way to make a living. That death is no way to make a living. Pa, 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 pa. Oh man, the skeletons in the closet, I tell you what. Shoot. At another shot elsewhere, somewhere else in the house, or rather another shot elsewhere in another home, the ghosts that we just met, Stuart and Cyrus, are there. But they're there to start the frightening business. It turns out they're in business together. How he sees ghosts, we don't know yet. But what they get out of it, we don't know. Somehow they help him for some reason, and they're in business together. I don't know what the ghosts get out of this business deal. They ride a trunk. They live in a terrible home. Their ectoplasm is drying up. What benefit does Frank provide the ghosts? No idea. Clearly they're providing him with some sort of financial benefit, but anyway, I should have put that in the illogical. I forgot. Anyway, moving on. So the ghosts enter this other house, and they're talking to a little baby, right? I mean, I think that's more for the audience. The little kid doesn't understand what they were saying. So he's talking to the little kid, and he tells them, now you don't wrestling here. We're gonna scare your family, and gonna be all right. I'm gonna hold you up and prop you up like this on my shoulder, and you're gonna look like you're flying. And that's what they do. They eventually prop up the kids, and the kids look like they're flying. Everybody else is like, oh my God, the kids are flying! Ah! Go get it! No, you 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 go get it! Fine, I'll go get it. And of course, somehow Frank Bannister's card is available, and he gets called promptly, and that's the shtick. They scare, he arrives, they make a profit, they see no profit, they ride the trunk. But almost as soon as Frank gets there, the woman who called him sees an article about Bannister being a con man, and she kicks him out fast, right? Yeah, I don't know how it is that she got a hold of the article or who presented it to her, but he has a sort of a bad reputation already, and you know, that woman in the newspaper, you forgot to mention that the Spider-Man character, the guy he sent, was at the funeral too. Yeah, you're right. He was at the funeral, and they made an article that says that Frank Bannister's a con man and you shouldn't trust him. So anyway, he doesn't get any money, and the ghosts don't get whatever the ghosts get out of the frightening. Okay. So Bannister goes to the newspaper to complain, but nothing comes of it, and he leaves. So he walks out, and he sees a ghost running, and that ghost eventually crashes into him, and fuckity fuck. It turns out it's Ray, Lucy's husband from earlier, and somehow he's dead now. And I didn't mention this earlier, but when we met Ray, he was like exercising, a really good shape guy, he's like super into fitness, and now he's somehow dead. And Ray tells him he doesn't know what happened. Yeah, Frank, I don't know what happened. I'm like the epitome of fitness over here. I'm just over here doing my calisthenics, and suddenly, bang, I got a bump tick up, my heart starts hurting, and then all of a sudden I got this ectoplasm shit all over me. Oh, Frank's just telling him what needs to happen now. God, Doc, no, I mean, Ray, not again. Listen, you gotta go into the light, buddy, and, once you see 88, you're gonna see some, I mean, you gotta get into that light. Don't purchase a DeLorean, just go into the light, and everything will be fine. But Ray doesn't want to have it. He doesn't know why he's dead. He's too young, he's traumatized by the fact that he just died. We still don't know how Frank sees ghosts, but somehow he sees ghosts, right? Yeah, he has an ability that nobody else has shown. And not only does he see ghosts, ghosts also see him, and they're actually able to communicate. Thank you for pointing that out. Some films, you can see the ghost, but the ghost can't see... Well, actually, the ghost can see you. Wow, what? I don't know where I'm going with that. The relationship between what a ghost sees and what a person sees a ghost is established here. But it's inconsistent again. And I mentioned this earlier in the illogical stuff. Patty sees a ghost, but she doesn't see all the ghosts. And we don't know how it is that she can see ghosts either. Anyway, Frank drives Ray to the cemetery to see his own funeral, and we see a ton of ghosts everywhere, and we also see a shot of Ghost Master Sergeant when he sees Bannister, and he tells him, I knew you'd be around here soon enough, Bannister. Now you get down and you give me 40, you son of a bitch. This instant. I am the drill sergeant, and you will address me as so, and do not look at me, you maggot. You turn around. Turn around, do you hear me? You hear me, little young in your ear? When I say something, you say, sir, yes, sir. Do you understand me? Bannister! Sir, yes, sir. I didn't hear you, Bannister! Sir, yes, sir. Bannister! That's your name! I didn't hear you! Sound off! Sir, yes, sir. Oh my goodness, he didn't say any of that. Yes, he did. Anyway, we continue, and we're at Ray's funeral, and Ray tries to hug his wife, Lucy, and suddenly falls into his graveside, and he sees his own corpse, and that freaks the shit out of him. Ah, I'm dead! Ah, what a world, I'm melting. And he talks to Frank, and he asks him to pull him out. Frank, please do me a solid, bro. I'm stuck in here. Give me a hand. Come on. Give me a hand. Baby, hold on to me. Whatever will be, will be. It doesn't sing. Whatever, Billy. You're listening to the wrong version of the film again. Oh, my goodness. So, of course, he can't pull him out or pretend, or rather, you can't give himself away like he can see these things happening. He just looked like a crazy person. And there is a shot, actually, as the sheriff is arriving, of Frank pulling him out of the grave, and it looks weird as hell. And the police officer questions Bannister about the run-in he had with Ray a few nights before. Obviously, he's a suspect, right? He ran over his lawn, he was in his house, and suddenly he's dead. Understandable, right? Yeah, I think that's a very safe thing to assume. I think that, in instances where you're in somebody's home, you're the last person to see somebody alive, potentially that police are definitely going to want to ask you some questions. Well, that's what happens. Asking them some questions, and where were you the 2 nights ago when Ray was still alive and fine as a soldier? Well, Daddy-o, I mean, I just, I had a little, I just gave him his ectoplastic ammunitions, and I washed them down the garbage disposal. Nothing comes of it, because I think the police officer knows Bannister. It's a small town somewhere in the Midwest. And then Lucy asks Bannister if she has a message from Ray, and somehow how does Lucy know? Right? I mean, Lucy just immediately believes that this psychic investigator, who everybody thinks is a con, she believes him immediately. Just really interesting, but anyway. Sort of, not really establishes why she believes in sort of stuff like this, or why she believes Frank, but she does. And of course, Frank tells her that Ray is saying he loves her very much, which was true. The next night, we don't know why, but Lucy and Bannister meet for dinner, and Ray's also there, obviously, and they're talking about, they're having a conversation. Like, oh my God, Frank, you were an architect? That's amazing. And Ray's like, what the hell? We're here to talk about me, baby. I love you. What do you mean? He's an architect that's so boring. I can build a house. I just gotta get my old body back. And Ray's clearly jealous of Frank, and I don't know why this made sense that they're on a date, but it seems like they're on a date. Anyway, she wants to know how it is that he can see ghosts. And that's when we find out that he was in a car accident about 6 years ago. Frank was, and somehow the traumatic experience alters perception. Okay, listen. I'm not saying anything needs to be grounded in science. I get it. This is a horror film, but at the very least establish a set of ground rules that we can go by, right? And then stick to them, right, Billy? Yeah, I think that's a very fair way of putting it. You don't have to be scientifically accurate in a horror film, but at the very least, if you establish something, then everybody has to follow and play by the same set of rules. Otherwise, there's inconsistencies or illogical things that you mention. Thank you, Billy. Okay, so he was in a traumatic car accident, and that's how he can see a ghost. And obviously, Ray's super angry that nobody's speaking to me. Somebody talk to me. Better make noises. She has a question for Ray. Lucy does. Frank, is Ray here? Yeah, he's just over there. Can you ask him where the money that he invested was? And Ray's like, oh fuck. Oh, you gotta tell her I blew it on a bad investment, Frank. Oh, don't tell her I'll get back. I'm gonna take care of her as soon as I get my old body back, Frank. Just tell her. How does he think he's gonna get his body back? I don't know. I think he's in denial, this ghost. Then Lucy says that the marriage wasn't good anymore. And Ray's like, you bitch. And Ray figures out at this point that he can manipulate shit, right? How? Not explained, but that's okay. Okay. He's going through his ghostly, what is we call it? Early stages of ghosting at the beginning of an RPG where they're telling you to look up or down, left or right, or push buttons so you can establish how controls work. That's what Ray's going through right now, right? Yeah, he's figuring out how to be a ghost and getting used to his new state of matter. New state of matter. Fascinating. And what state of matter would that be, Billy? Yeah, it's a state of matter that is currently unknown to humans or established by any known laws of physics in the physical universe as we know it. Do you know it? No comment. Oh, okay. So Bannister gets up, he goes to the restroom, and in the restroom he sees a man with the number 38 on his forehead. And we saw Ray with the number 37, and now Ray's dead, so now this means that he's the next victim. And suddenly a ghost enters the restroom where that man is, and Bannister is also, and Bannister goes looking for the ghost. And this man's looking at Bannister like he's a crazy, like, this some kind of cuckoo. It's some kind of cuckoo for cuckoo pups. Damn children and their sugary cereals of the 1990s with your cuckoo for cookie pups. Huh? With the Cheerios? Oreo cookie dough? I don't even know what you kids eat these days with the sugary cereals, with the Frosted Flakes. Was it Frosted Flakes? Was it Smacks? It's one of those cereals I know, and it's causing you kids to get cuckoo like the cookie for Cocoa Puffs. Oh my god, he didn't say any of that. And Bannister keeps looking for the ghost, and the man keeps washing his hand, and suddenly we see it's the Grim Reaper, and he reaches into the man's chest and starts touching and squeezing the life out of his heart and kills him. And then a light from the heavens appears, and a man's ectoplastic emanation, fair enough, sees his body and starts floating into this ray of light and away, and suddenly he sees his mom and he goes into the light. Bannister runs and sees that it's the Grim Reaper, something he's never seen before, right? Yeah, I don't think Bannister has seen the Grim Reaper before. I don't think anybody has seen the Grim Reaper before. I mean, if you see the Grim Reaper, I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think they want to see it. That's a good point. That's a good point. I don't think anybody wants to see it. But anyway, goes to the police station and he talks to the cops about hat. You gotta believe me, Doc. Sheriff. Daddy-o. It was just the Grim Reaper just like touched his heart, and it was just awful. And then they bring Lucy in because she's a material witness. And now what are the police thinking? Well, I think the police, again, it's too coincidental. Ray died after a visit from Bannister. And now this man dies in the same location that Bannister is. I think at this point, as a police officer, you have to think that somehow he's involved in some kind of murder. At the very least, he's a person of interest for sure. I have to agree with that assessment, and he's at the police station, and the cops ask what happened, and they bring in Lucy as a material witness, and they want Bannister was never there. They want Bannister. Okay. Lucy, do you know what Bannister is? I don't know. But Bannister, meanwhile, is out and about with Cyrus and Stuart chasing the Grim Reaper. And suddenly in the investigation room, Milton Dahmers, an FBI agent, walks in to talk to Lucy about Bannister. And this sucker is just weird. I mean, like, I think as soon as I realized his last name was Dahmer, I thought that was a connection to Jeffrey Dahmer. I thought he was going to be kind of a weird character. You know, I didn't make that connection until much later. But yeah, I agree. But anyways, it's just a weird dude, and somehow women yelling makes him vomit. Oh, please stop yelling. Weird fucker. And comes in and he asks Lucy, did he use any salt? Did Frank use any salt when he was eating his meal? Did he add salt? What about pepper? Huh? Does Frank live deliciously? Does he like the taste of butter? Salt and butter. Did he use any of it? Does Frank live deliciously? Ladies and gentlemen, a special guest appearance from Black Phillip. Black Phillip, what can you tell us about Frank's tastes? Frank does indeed like to live deliciously, and he enjoys the taste of butter. Would you like... All right, that's all right. Thank you so much. No. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Black Phillip from our episode on The Nun. I'm sorry, The Witch. I was just gonna ask you if you wanted to live deliciously. Yeah, I know his shtick. He asks you if you want to live deliciously, and then he'd ask you to take your shift off. Pervy Black Phillip is pervy. Anyway, yeah, FBI agent is being all fucking weird, asking questions about whether or not he eats salt. Throws up. The fucker's weird. I mean, there's nowhere to say. He's just weird looking. He's a weird fucker. He wears all black. He's just a weird sumbitch. Meanwhile, the police are concerned that Bannister is gonna come to kill her. Dahmer creeps in and says, you know, in 1980, when Frank was still an architect, he built himself a basketball court as opposed to a garden like his wife wanted. And they argued, and then they drove away into a car accident, and the wife died. And you know what happened? The wife had the number 13 carved into her forehead, and his knife, his box cutter, was missing, therefore making him a suspect. But nobody's throwing up. I mean, nobody's yelling at him. Women aren't yelling. Yeah, but he's just a weird fucker. And then he explains that the box cutter was never found. And this is what I mentioned earlier, the illogical stuff. It's like, how does a missing box... Okay, so I get that the woman had the number 13 carved on her forehead. Sadistic, wrong, but that wasn't going to kill her. You're tying the fact that, you know, she died to a heart attack. First and foremost, she was in a car accident. She died of a heart attack, and suddenly there's a number 13 on her forehead, and you assume that because this guy's missing box cutter... I don't know, I don't follow the logic. Anyway, it wasn't enough. It was just too far of a reach for me. Anyway, Dahmer explains all that shit about the box cutter. And back at Bannister's house, Cyrus, Stewart, and the judge argue about the Grim Reaper. Why, hey, why you got a head? That bitch, he's the Grim Reaper, he's their, well, he'd be a legend. He's a legend back where I come from, and legends get remembered. Legends get remembered, but heroes never die. You gotta follow your heart, kid. Oh, no, that's just a reference from another movie. Yeah, The Sandlot. You've seen it? I love The Sandlot. Now remember, kid, heroes get remembered, but legends never die. And they argue about the Grim Reaper being a myth, you know, mythical creature that doesn't actually exist. He's a legend, but the judge says somebody's numbered up. Suddenly, we're elsewhere in Fairwater. We're alive from the sky. Well, we're not in elsewhere in Fairwater, but Frank Bannister sees a light in the sky. The tunnel to heaven open up, and Bannister chases it. And as soon as he reaches the fish under the sea dance, and someone is getting CPR. But unfortunately, that person is dead. And it turns out to be that person was Magna the reporter's associate, and now he's dead, and he's going straight into the light. And this is what I mentioned earlier. There's like some characters, like this is the second character we see are going straight into the light. No lingering around, no taking your ashes, no burying your body. Just doesn't matter, wherever you are, straight into the light. And we don't see that with all the characters. It's inconsistent. All the characters should go through this process. I get, it's just a story, man. Fuck you, Johnson. I don't care if it's a story. The story has to make sense. It has to follow the same set of rules. Otherwise, it's just, what is this if we don't follow the same set of rules? We're just mad. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Kirk from Star Trek. We all gotta follow the same set of rules. Otherwise, what are we? We're just a bunch of people who don't follow the rules. And if we don't follow all the rules, then what are we? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Kirk from Star Trek. So it's not established. Some people go into the light while other people do not. Why one is versus the other is not told. We don't know. It just happens that way in the film. Okay, so that person goes into the light, and what else happens here, Billy? Well, he, the associate is given CPR, and then he unfortunately dies, and Magna is there as well, and Frank Bannister sees the number 40 on her forehead. That's right, Billy. Magna is next. You're next. You're next. So the police arrives, thankfully, in the nick of time, and suddenly, Jesus don't fear the Jesus don't fear the Reaper. The Reaper arrives, and he goes straight for Magna, and the judge arrives and stop blast. This town ain't big enough for the both of us, yeah. Slimy some bitch. Pa, 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 pa. Starts shooting the shit out of it. And actually Priya chases him off with those bullets. Congratulations, Sheriff. His magical bullets did something. And the judge jumps into a sarcophagus and really crude attempt at humor, which just I didn't like, I mentioned earlier. And then the police for some reason start shooting. Pa, 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 pa. And then the mummy starts moving and the police shoot at it as well. Pa, 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 pa. But it was the other two ghosts doing their ghosting. Now more spooky stuff starts to happen, and then another sarcophagus starts to move. Jesus Christ almighty. But it's Bannister and he's just hiding. But the Grim Reaper returns and fuckity. Fuck. He slices the judge in half. So Billy, explain to me what happens when a dead character dies. Well, I mean, yeah, it's a little illogical. Yeah, so when they die, when they get sliced in half, they go to heaven. But when they die, immediately after being alive, they turn into ghosts, but it doesn't happen to everybody because the rule isn't followed consistently. This film was a 10. This film was a 10 when I saw it, and I dropped it down because of all the illogical stuff. It just didn't make any sense. Anyway, we continue. Bannister, in an attempt to save Magna from her impending doom, punches her. He punches her to save her. He punches her, knocks her out, and suddenly throws her in her car, and they drive away, and they're being chased by the Grim Reaper. And Bannister has a flashback as he's driving to the day his wife died in a car crash, and they also crash in his car. Thankfully, both him and Magna survive, but the Reaper is grimming and reaping, and he attacks and kills Magna, and she too goes into the light. And of course, Bannister runs away in anger, and I'm starting to question why he isn't targeted. That would end the movie, I think. Thanks, Billy. Bannister returns to the police station where they were arguing previously about him not being... He'll never come here. Why would he do that? He'd never turn himself in. That would be illogical. Sure enough, he shows up to the police station and tells them about Magnus' death, and he is arrested. And that's when he tells Lucy, "Oh, Lucy, the night that I went out there driving, the night that I went back in time, I was driving. It's all a scam, Lucy. I just see ghosts, and then I get paid, and I don't know what they get, but they help me." Milton comes in. 28 people had died under your watch. 28. And then he tells the sheriff that Frank is federal business now, and Milton asks about Nina Calagia, who has mind powers to kill. So Milton thinks that somehow Frank is killing people with the power of his mind. Right, Billy? Yeah, he definitely he definitely is insinuating that somehow he has something to do with some kind of magical power, and that's how he's killing people. Well, I mean, that may be the case, but that's not the truth. Anyway, we move on, and he's just questioned, and he's being told that somehow he has the power to kill people, but he doesn't know how. And then we move on to Lucy, and Lucy arrives at Bannister's home for some reason, and Ray is also there. But Lucy doesn't see Ray at this point. She doesn't have the capability to do that, but he travels with her to the house from the beginning of the movie where Patricia lives. And Ray sees the house, and by the way, Ray is her husband again, and he sees the house is haunted by something, but what is haunting this house? We know already because we saw the movie, but it's not the Grim Reaper. So what is haunting this house? So she goes inside to look for Patricia, and Mrs. Bradley comes out of nowhere as she was outside, and suddenly Patricia and Lucy hide in the mother's room. Why? Let's hide right here. This is the most illogical place that we can hide in an entire movie. But don't worry, people in '96 don't care about the shit we feed them. We can feed them shit, and they'll eat that shit. Eat that shit, audience. Oh, Lord. So they go and they hide in the mother's room, and, Patricia tells Lucy that she doesn't really understand what's going on, and then she tries to grab the piston cup, which is an urn. Billy, you know the piston cup? That very famous trophy from the movie called Cars. Who doesn't know that? Anyway, the mother blames Patricia for her husband killing herself after the murders that happened at the sanatorium. And she tells Patricia, honey, you're evil like Johnny Butler. You're an evil woman. Mighty woman. And they look at newspapers from the killings, and Patricia, again, they're in their mother's room, and suddenly the mother asks, "What are you doing in my room? Why are you here? Of all the places in the home that you could choose to hide, you choose my room. Why, Patricia?" Doesn't make any sense. Who thought that writing into this movie would? You could have hid somewhere else. Your own room, maybe a restroom, but no. You chose to hide in my room, the one place I would most likely come after coming inside the house. I don't know, maybe second to the kitchen, because I was wearing an apron, but why? Oh, that's really bothering you, huh? You know what really grinds my gears? Illogical shit in storytelling. Anyway, as Lucy was hiding in the room, and somehow the mother and Patricia leave, and Lucy finds Frank Bannister's box cutter in the mother's room. Oh, now I know why they're in the room. Plot device. The box cutter is in the room. Again, the box cutter that doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, a lost box cutter, but there's so much emphasis placed on this box cutter, and it just felt awful and weird. But okay, we found the box cutter. Now what? Okay, so then we move on to another scene where we see that the urn is actually not her father's ashes, but rather Johnny Bartlett's, the serial killer that killed 12 people at the sanatorium, and one more. Frank Bannister's wife. And Bartlett opens up and out he comes. Bartlett comes out, and then something else is haunting the house. What is it? I don't know. I don't understand. And then it kills Ray again. So now Ray's double dead. Well, some inconsistencies there. Anyway, move on. Lucy takes his knife, his box cutter. It's not a knife. With a knife, you charge. With a box cutter, you run away. Now, you mean with a gun? Where is that from, anyway? Oh, that's from The Irishman. You seen that scene? With a knife, you charge. With a gun, you run away. Hoo-ah! Is that your Al Pacino? Oh, it's definitely my Al Pacino. So Lucy goes to visit Frank to tell him that she found his box cutter. And the Grim Reaper's out to get Lucy. You just don't feel the Reaper. Thankfully, Cyrus and Stuart save her. And somehow the Reaper reappears and fuck kills Stuart again. Double kill. Well, now he's killed by death. Like the Motorhead song. Killed by death. Killed by death. Thankfully, they somehow escape the cell, but Milton is there to stop Lucy before Lucy shoots Milton with an extinguisher. Take this, you creeper! Oh my eyes, oh the humanity, I'm melting, And they escape. And somehow Frank wants to have a out-of-body experience because he thinks it's the only way of stopping the Grim Reaper, right? Because up until this point, we're told to believe that you cannot harm or touch these things. They can touch you, they can manipulate matter, but there's nothing that you can do to physically touch these ghosts. So the idea is that he himself is going to turn into a ghost. But not too far from now, something that violates that logic happens, right? And we'll get into it since it's coming up soon. But right now the point is that Frank is about to shoot himself in the head so that he can turn into a ghost, so he can stop the Grim Reaper. But Lucy has a better idea. Billy? Yeah, I mean, she works in cryogenics, so she proposes that he freezes to death. So they go to Lucy's lab, and he puts her in a freezer, and now they're in love? What the hell? That's what I was telling you about the shoehorn romance. Like they kiss their fingers and then they touch the mirror and the little window, in the door that in the cryogenic freezer. And this is weird to me. It's just fucking shoehorned in shit. I did not like that. Do not shoehorn romance in. I hate love. I hate you, love. You listen here, you son of a bitch, love. You ain't got no business here. This town ain't big enough for the both of us, love. Love is a love. This town ain't big enough for the both of us, love. Oh my goodness. That was a weird one. Yeah, well, I mean, you tell me. I don't know. Somehow they're in love. Anyway, Milton, I already said that, arrives. Actually, no, Milton arrives and prevents Lucy from pulling out Bannister from the freezer. He only has a certain amount of time. That before he freezes to death. I mean, he's already frozen to death, but the only certain amount of time before she can pull him out, before any neurological damage is done, or before any tissue damage happens to him, before he's really dead. Not like getting killed with a scythe death. Not killed by death. Killed by death. Not killed by death while you're dead, but dead, like D-E-D dead. And Bannister, who is recently dead, he is learning to adapt to his newfound state of matter, who Billy says is unexplainable by our current understanding of the laws of physics, Billy. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into that again. And also refuses to tell us how it works. So Milton arrests Lucy again, and they drive away, and Bannister falls through the floor, but so does the Grim Reaper. And then the Grim Reacher... the Grim Reacher. That's Jack Reacher Part 3. Jack Reacher has died. But thankfully, he's back. That's right, folks. Jack Reacher is back as the Grim Reacher. Only on Amazon Prime. Oh my goodness. I'd watch it. Anyway, the Grim Reaper reaches the parked car, but is tackled by Bannister. Come here, you Grim Reaper. You know, I've taken on bullies like you before. Biff. You hear, Biff? You leave Lorraine alone, Biff. Oh my goodness, more Back to the Future reference. So the Reaper pulls out the old scythe, And that's what I said, the moving truck suddenly hits the Grim Reaper and it stops him! Come on! Why did Frank die? Why did he freeze himself to death if all you needed was a truck to stop him? If a truck can manipulate the state of matter, which Billy refuses to explain to us how it works, then how come Frank couldn't just manipulate the state of matter by stopping it? He didn't have to go through the process of first and foremost almost shooting himself in the head and then freezing himself to death, potentially permanently, because now Lucy's in a pickle. She might not be able to save him in time. Gotta get back in time. Back in time. Anyway, the truck stops him, and Milton drives to the cemetery. But why is Milton driving to the cemetery? It turns out he's some kind of cultist psycho and has tattoos all over his body. Now, they mentioned earlier that Milton had spent a lot of time with cultists, right? Yeah, that's what the sheriff had said, that Milton had spent maybe a little too much time around cultists. So I actually think that maybe, you know, he himself became a cultist because he's got all kinds of weird shit tattooed on him too. Maybe so, Billy. Maybe so. Anyway, Bannister tries to drive the car to save Lucy, but he gets pulled out of the vehicle by the Master Sergeant from earlier. You maggot! I told you to get down and give me 40 and you never did it. I told you to sound off and you never said, sir, yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir. Do you hear me, maggot? Anytime I get down here, I tell you to give me down here 40 and you gotta move around. If I start yelling at you, you stand there and you take it. You take it, you understand? Sir, yes, sir. Every time I say, you say, yes, sir. You understand? Sir, yes, sir. Hold up, maggot! Sir, yes, sir. Oh my goodness. That's kind of how they are. Anyway, Bannister picks up his guns after the Grim Reaper reappears and slices the Master Sergeant in half. So much for his sir, yes, sir, and his sound off, huh? Oh, yeah, that's too bad. So then Bannister picks up the guns and just goes commando on the old Grim Reaper. Get down. Come with me if you want to live. Get to the chopper. What else? Well, I mean, the only one I can think of is I'll be back. I'll be back. Did you know that he originally wanted to say, "I will be back"? Yeah, and Cameron said you're right. You said the lines that I write them. I don't tell you how to act. That's it. I'll be back. Is Sarah Connor here? I'll be back. Anyway, he shoots at him and it looks like he destroys him. And it turns out, finally it is revealed who the Grim Reaper is. And it's actually Bartlett, the serial killer, that son of a bitch. And somehow, all of Bartlett's victims, well, the ones that, except for his wife, come out of the as ghosts to think, Frank, from the cemetery, what happened to going to the lake? Where are all these victims stuck here in a gravesite and not in the light? Where is the logic? Follow your own logic. So they come out and thank him, and somehow Bartlett, well, what a appropriately placed reference, because suddenly Bartlett starts to reassemble himself like the T-1000 from Terminator. Get down, Frank. I got it now. And right as Frank is about to scythe death to death, killed by Frank! Killed by Frank! Lucy revives Frank and nick of time, right before she kills death. And Frank tells Lucy about Bartlett being a killer. Right before the night I went back in time, Lucy, I'm sorry, I get confusing things. Right before you brought me back to life, I was about to kill the Grim Reaper who turned out to be Bartlett. So Lucy rushes to tell Patricia that Bartlett is the killer, and Patricia confronts Mrs. Bradley. Lucy confronts Mrs. Bradley of having Frank's box cutter in her room. And suddenly the grandpappy clock starts grandpapping and rocking back and forth while Lucy waits in the study. And Patricia says she knows that Bartlett is back. I know that he's back. I have visions at night. I had a vision of love, and it was all that was given to me. And she gets visited at night by Bartlett. And then Patricia, it turns out, can also see ghosts and is in fact in cahoots with Bartlett. How does Patricia see ghosts? What traumatic experience did she go through? And this is where Bartlett talks about John Wayne Gacy and the Russian cannibal, as I mentioned earlier. You have some context now. And Bartlett wants Patricia to kill Lucy, and he'll watch. Wait, why don't you just kill her? I'll watch right here. I'll watch. But Lucy goes upstairs to get the mom, but the mom has been stabbed to death. Fuckity, fuck. And then suddenly Patricia attacks it with a knife, classic slasher style, and Bartlett, in carpet form, of course, also attacks her. Come here! That's what a flying carpet sounds like. But Bannister's here. Come with me, Lucy, if you want to live. Come with me. Bannister comes in and saves her in his ghost form, and actually no, he's alive now. And then the ashes in the piston cup that are in Patricia's room, again, aren't her father's at all. They're Bartlett's. So Bannister and Patricia rush out with the ashes to reach the sanatorium, where the logic now is that he has to go to the chapel to get the ashes to the other side. I didn't understand this. Maybe I missed this. Maybe there's something to do with the fact that he killed people there, and it's the only place that could, they could. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. But anyway, that's where they're going. They go into the chapel, or rather, they go to the sanatorium, and they're back in there, and Bannister, that's right, Frank Bannister flashes back in time. I gotta get back in time. Back in time. And he sees the day of the murders, and he sees Bartlett killing people, and he keeps flashing back, and suddenly Patricia arrives with a shotgun, but not in a heroic way. Bartlett, I gotta get through. Bartlett does the right fucking thing. He follows the rules of horror. He hides under a blanket, and then it works. He keeps flashing back, but they rush to the chapel, chased by Patricia and her shotgun, and suddenly Milton arrives as well, and, well, he captures Lucy, but not for long. She thankfully escapes and reaches the elevator on the 4th floor. And Patty continues hunting Bannister, and he finally reached the chapel, but unfortunately, Lucy's stuck in the elevator. So she hands him the ashes, and, well, he loses them to Milton, and fucking Milton somehow, for some fucking reason, releases them. Why? And then there's a slight standoff between Milton, who blasts Frank in the arm, with an Uzi for some reason. On the FBI shooting at people for fucking some shit's getting crazy now, right, Billy? Yeah, some of this logic is really out there right now. So then Patty reaches both Milton and Frank.
This sanitarium isn't big enough for the both of us. 3. The both of us 3. That's you plus 2. Which makes 3. Anyway, I'm gonna shoot ya. Shoot the thrill, way to kill. Too many women and too many pills. You gotta put the thrill, way to kill. Shoot the thrill, cause I'm ready to kill.
Oh, Lord. That's what happened. They started singing some AC/DC. Ah, did they not? Yeah, Patricia started.
Shoot the thrill, way to kill. Too many women and too many pills. You gotta shoot the thrill, and I'm ready to kill, and I can't save myself, and I...
All right. And the stand-up continues. Oh, Lord. Yo, unhinged tonight. Too many quesadillas. And there's a standoff between Patty and Milton. And just as that, well, Patty, Milton, and Frank. Just as about to shoot Frank, the gun jams. Actually, that happened before. I fucked it up. Patty reaches Milton and Frank, and she blasts Milton, immediately killing him, and now Milton is dead. And Frank falls through the floor and gets knocked out, but thankfully, he's still alive. And then Lucy gets knocked out by Patricia, and she's out for the count for now. And just as she's about to kill Bannister, gun jam. So she starts to choke him to death. I'll choke you, you son of a bitch!
Oh, you're killing me. Oh, you're killing me, Smalls. Oh, Lord. Oh, choke it. Oh, what a world. I'm melting.
And she kills Bannister. I didn't know it was going to happen, but it does. And now he's back to being a ghost. He's in ghost form once again, right? Yeah, this is the second time he had died in the movie. And now that he's a ghost, he rips Patricia's soul out as they travel towards the light. Come with me if you want to live. We must go to the light. Follow the light, Patricia. It's the only way. Yeah, take my hand. And there goes Frank, and she's pulling Patricia up into the light, and Bartlett chases them and saves Patricia from heaven. But now that they're both in the tunnel, they are fucked, because not before long that tunnel turns red. And then Frank reaches heaven, thankfully, and Stuart and Cyrus are there in heaven, and suddenly Patricia and Bartlett are attacked by a snake. And they're poking their eyes out and shit, and it's very clear to us where they're going.
They're on a highway to hell.
They're on the highway to hell, and Franken and Scott's friends are all safe in heaven, and suddenly he sees his wife, and she tells him,
"It's time to go home, Frankie. It's not your time.
So he gets sent back to the future, Marty. No. He gets sent back to the living world. Oh yeah? Are you sure? Are you sure it's not back to the future? I'm pretty sure that's the line. No, it's not back to the future, Doc. You mean back to real life then? Back to being alive, Marty! That's right, back to being alive, Marty. And he comes back to life as Lucy's kissing him, and they are in love for some reason. And Lucy and Frank in another scene are now in love, and his house is being demolished. But not before the sheriff shows up and interrupts them about writing a book. Frank's like, yeah, well, sure thing, Doc, Daddy-o. And, just watch out with your guardian angel. And Sheriff's like, sure thing, pal, guardian angel. And it turns out that it's Milton riding in the back, because he dead. And that's gonna be it for that movie, and that's gonna be it for us. This movie. Oh my goodness, so much crazy logic. But I still liked it. I thought it was well done. For 1996, the special effects were pretty good. Better than the special effects I saw in many recent movies. An 8 out of 10, as I mentioned already. 8 out of 10 for The Frighteners, Billy. I like that movie too. Like you say, it's entertaining and yeah, it's a good film. Well, that's it for us. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you being part of our show. We together are the show. Not just me, not just you, all of us. We'll see you again on the next episode of Rick's Horror Movie Review Show. Rick's Rated R Horror Movie Review Show.